Hi everyone. My name is Ian Trousdell. I live in New Zealand and I would like to introduce you to my higher self consulting. This has developed out of the work that I started to do with Knowing Reality seminars because people in the seminars would occasionally ask me whether I could perceive how they were getting on. And bearing in mind, we have a physical body, but also an energy body and a soul body, and then a spiritual being. And these are all in higher dimensions, so to speak. You know, the physical body is 3 dimensions, height, width, and depth. And the energy body's in the dimension of life, the fourth dimension, which is related to time. So it's time-space continuum. That's our physical reality, is living in time with a physical body, and it has energy. There's also our consciousness or soul body, which is a formation around us, and it takes on a certain quality depending on who we are. And then that's the fifth dimension, and it's a type of light. And the sixth dimension, we have our own being, and that's in the spiritual worlds, in heaven, in Devakan, or whatever words we want to use. The reality is that it's a sixth dimension, which is made of love. And our higher self can be either more or even more weighing into our earthly person. So in my consultations, because I have learnt how to perceive and engage with and indeed meet and chat with higher selves with eyes open, that is with my eyes open, and also with eyes shut in a beyond meditation state of meeting. With the consultations, it's always to begin with eyes open technique, and there I can, during the course of an hour's consultation, make my way up to perceive in this sixth dimension. And therefore, there are three, so to speak, people in the consultation. The human person who comes to meet me, or maybe online, because it can also be done online. And they bring their questions to the consultation, like, how's my life getting on? What should I do about this? How am I going with my self-development? Maybe you've got some health niggles or health, even major problems. These are all topics for conversation with the third person, who is your higher self. It's a bit of a paradox because you are your higher self, because the best part of you is what the higher self is raying into you. And a lot of our character and our way of doing things is because that's how the higher self does things. Of course, it's tied in with our heredity and our family patterns and things we've done in life and so forth. Anyway, these consultations, their purpose is to provide an insight into your life according to your questions. And these insights come from who you really are in the spiritual worlds. So we get, I'll do some more explaining in a moment, but some client references perhaps to do with life progress. Just need to read them off. When you told me that my higher self wanted me to love more and then taught me how to do this, my life has transformed into something wonderful. And that's from a young woman in China, in Beijing. This is from a man in Canada. Our session, which connected me with myself, is a central source of deep inner guidance and wisdom that I rely on daily to help find the courage and purpose to navigate my life. And then one to do with healing and well-being from Hong Kong, a mother in Hong Kong. When you contacted the higher self of my autistic son and found ways to help him to ray his being more into my boy, my son has improved so much, is less nervous and tense, and is able to live a better life as he grows up. I am so grateful. And then a woman in France who was going through self-healing from earlier trauma. The whole experience you conveyed to me from myself is an incredible fertilization of my soul healing work. Her simple words brought with it an infusion of light and energy, a love my soul needed so much. And then to do with artistic and professional guidance from a man in New Zealand. The guidance you conveyed to me from the higher selves of the main characters in my novel's historical recreation has deepened and confirmed the direction of my work. So that was a bit different. It wasn't his higher self, it was the higher selves of historical beings, because this way of using spiritual research can go into very interesting areas of application. Another one is, thank you for the guidance you conveyed to me in answer to my questions about the next steps in my business. It has enabled me to dream bigger and action a new relatable vision. Also, someone in New Zealand. So I think I've maybe done 130 now, consultations. So I've gained some experience and find my way through this. I also do my own research into historical characters, finding out more about their lives that normal history is not able to tell us. So what's the basis of this higher self consultant? Okay, so I've touched on the fact that we are in a multidimensional world, that there are at least 6 dimensions that human beings are operating in. 3 dimensions of the physical, the world of life or energy, and we have our own energy body. And then there's a big wider world of consciousness made of light, and we have our own little portion of that, our soul body. And then there's the great world of spirit, whose primary substance is love, and we have our own portion of that, who is our own being. And this being is in itself an eternal and immortal being who rays down into its body on the earth when it has a body on the earth. And this person on the earth is in the school of life. And what it learns here in its earthly life adds substance and value and qualities to the higher self. So that quote that I gave of the Chinese woman who was taught how to love more. So her higher self, when I had a chat with her higher self was a beautiful, light-filled being. The light was a little brittle and a sort of slight yellowy, lemon yellow quality. And because the person on the earth had said, what can I do to improve myself here in this life? A higher self said to me to pass on the message that could she love more because this is what she needed. And so this earthly woman spent about 8 or 9 months loving everything as a default way of being. And the way she did this was her higher self said, think and remember something you love the most on the earth. Of course, it was her children in this case. And she said then, take away the subject of that love, but retain the quality of that love. And that should be, or can be, the love you feel for everything. And so she really practiced that for 8 months. And as it happened, I was back in China and met her again. And she said, how am I getting on? And so I went and had a discussion with her higher self. And her higher self was so pleased. And the light around her higher self was a sort of a rich golden yellow, and it wasn't brittle. It was moving in rhythms. And there was this pink suffusion through the chest, so to speak, area. Higher selves are different, but they call it a chest. A pink suffusion of this love that was shining in the higher self. And so in 9 months, this young woman on the earth had changed her immortal being through practice. I was astounded because that's a permanent change. Her higher self is now an enriched being. So that's what we can do in our earthly life. And so this higher self is a full-fledged human being, so to speak, but with no matter in it. And it has a body, and that body is made of love. It's a substance. And it has certain shapes and qualities to it, but it's identifiably human, so to speak, in its shape. And then it has its own energy, which is an eternal energy, cosmic energy, which is individual. And it has a soul state, which and is very particular. Some are filled with joy, others have deep compassion, some are courageous and energetic, and they're all different. Every higher self is uniquely different as a result of multiple lives on earth and practices and things that happen in the spiritual worlds. So this is a reality that not just myself, but many, many talk of and some have perceived. And through following a 40, 50-year path of spiritual development, mostly along the lines of Rudolf Steiner's self-transformation pathway, but also dipping in and making good use of the great values of ancient yoga in India and various Buddhist practices plus other practices. I've developed these abilities and have been offering higher self consulting in the last 7 or so years. So, yeah, If you have questions or you want to know more about it or you want to avail yourself of a consultation, please let me know the information that will follow. I am a Reiki master. I've got a BA in psychology and also a diploma of teaching, and not really directly relevant, but the musical capacity is very helpful in this sort of research. So an associate of the Trinity College of London in violin playing and composition. So all of this adds up to the work that I've done over the years to enable me to move confidently now within these high realms. Sometimes after a consultation, extra work is needed. And what I do then is eyes closed, deeper meditation technique where it's possible to enter into the spiritual worlds and arrange meeting places to meet with the higher self of someone and possibly others associated in order to find out further information required to help the earthly person. It may seem a bit unusual, but for me, it's just everyday life. And I hope, yeah, you can see from some of these quotes that really helps. So that's available. I just wanted to let you know. Okay, thank you.